Hey guys, so I've got two questions today that are in the same kind of category, so I'm going to answer them both at the same time, um, or in the same video rather. Um, so one of the questions is, if angels cover their faces from God and can't look at God, will we be able to? And another one very similar, if God concealed himself so people did not get incinerated, then how can we see God face to face in heaven? So the answer to both of those questions is really the same answer. It's simply this, that the way that we're able to see God is in Christ. Remember that the second person of the Trinity, he takes on human flesh, he takes on human form, and then he comes and dwells amongst us, he dies, he rises, and then he ascends, and then when he comes back, every eye will see him, from one end of the earth to the other. And so we can see God in Christ, that God reveals, he exegetes the Father to us, he shows us what God is like, and we're able to see only the second person of the Trinity visibly with our physical eyes. That's not to say that we can't know, right, relationally, or mentally, the Father and the Spirit, but the only person of the Godhead that we will ever be able to see physically is Jesus Christ. And we get some of that in 1 John 3, chapter 3, verse 2. It says, "Beloved, we are God's children now, and what we will be," talking about our future glorification, our future resurrection, "has not yet appeared. But we know that when he," Jesus, "appears, we shall be like him," not in the sense that we will become God, but that his glorified humanity, we share in that in heaven. We should be like him because we shall see him as he is. So John is saying that Jesus as he is, as John is writing this, which is ascended, sitting at the right hand of the Father, we shall see Jesus as he is right now, when he returns, when he comes back. And so that's kind of how that works, is Jesus, will come back, and we'll be able to see him. And so heaven, the only person in the Trinity, even in eternity, that we will be able to see with our physical eyes, because we will still be physical beings, we still have physical bodies, is Jesus Christ. And that's okay, because you can't see the Father or the Spirit with physical eyes, so can't do it. It says God is spirit, God is invisible, that Jesus is the image of the invisible God. So Jesus makes God known in that physical way to us. So that's the answer there. That Jesus, even in his glorified state, that we will see him. So all that aside, one of the questions is kind of more referring to God's holiness and how we can be in the presence, even of Jesus is still God, he's still holy, right? And so how can we be in the presence of Jesus? And that's because in heaven we won't have sin anymore. Our sin is taken away. Our sin nature that we still have even as Christians is finally removed. And that's why it says we'll be like he is. We will see him as he is and be like him in that sense, is that we won't have a sinful nature. And so we'll be able to be in the presence of God in that way, without being, judged righteously as God ought to judge us. And the reason for that is because we will be like Christ in that way, because Christ gives to us his life and his death. And giving us his life, we're able to stand before God, and God looks at us and he doesn't see what we are in a sense. And he knows that we're still sinners. I'm not saying that he doesn't know that, but that judicially, in kind of courtroom kind of fashion, before the holiness of God, because of Christ and Christ alone, we're able to stand before him righteous, because we have a righteousness that doesn't belong to us. It's Christ's righteousness, and it's given to us as a gracious gift, imparted to us by God, in the act of justification. It's what fancy word is called. All right, so then that is how we're able to do that. We're able to stand before a holy God and not be destroyed. It's the only way. It is through Christ, because Christ imparts his righteous life and then his atoning death to us. So if you have any other questions about that, feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer. But those are really good questions about that, because I can see where, from the teaching on Wednesday, why you might have gotten that impression, because I said, even the angels hide their face for the holiness of God. How in the world can we ever see him? That's a good question. But remember what happens to Isaiah in Isaiah 6. Go read it. What happens to him is an angel comes. He says, "Woe is me! I'm done for. God is holy. God has appeared before me. I can't stand before him in this way." And the angel takes an ember out of this stand of burning embers and takes it with tongs over to Isaiah's lips, and it says that it purifies him and that his sins are forgiven. And that's pointing to the forgiveness that we have in Christ. And Isaiah is forgiven because of Christ's future work, even in the past. So that's kind of what that's all about. So yeah, there you go. Alright, that's that one. Move on to the next one.